What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Passion Changes Everything. Today is the first episode of the podcast, so I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm so excited. A lot of time, energy, motivation, everything has went into this. I'm very excited to finally start and finally bring it to fruition. My first guest, the first guest of Passion Changes Everything, is one of my closest friends. He's one of the most influential people in my life. He is the CEO, the president, the soldier, the head honcho, and everything in between, all by the age of 22, Elijah Pancini of Mellow Roofing Company. Let's go! Welcome to the podcast, my boy.
What's going on?
They don't know that we already have a conversation, but when the camera turns on, I turn on, baby. Let's go. All right, so I already gave you an introduction to the people. I let them know that you're basically the CEO, you're the president, you do all the hard work, you do everything in between, from head honcho to getting on that roof yourself and putting in the hours and time. So I just want you to kind of tell the people your story.
So, I mean, I grew up in the city of Syracuse. My family, they were, middle class people. I had a, pretty decent upbringing. I actually went to H.W. Smith next to Lemoyne College,
Okay.
all the way until 6th grade. Shout out to Jakeith, that's where we met. And,
let's go.
We went there together too. I was actually only one of the, Caucasian males that actually went to school there and played sports there. My love for basketball and football kind of started there on the good old gravel.
You can't play no ball, though, boy. You cannot play no ball. You might have football. I don't know.
Oh, man. But my family decided from 5th to 6th grade to move us out to Baldwinsville. Actually, better school district. And so I get that completely. Grew up in Kimbrook.
Brooklyn, baby. For those that don't know, that's where I'm from. That's what I read.
Yeah. Not a bad spot. But played high school basketball, football. It was all right. College for me, I knew I really didn't want to end up in debt. That was kind of my biggest thing, and I always had decent grades, but I think college today is just really pushed upon and doesn't really need to be. There's plenty of things you could be successful in that doesn't involve going into debt. Graduated from Baker. I decided to take my talents to the United States Army.
B, baby.
I did 4 years. It was time to get out. My experience there was, it was not bad. I learned what I could. Stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. Love Texas. Shout out to Texas. Longhorns, hook 'em. You know what I'm saying?
Syracuse. But keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you're a fan of Syracuse.
100%. What do you mean, boy? You see I'm business up top. Well, we got the Q shorts on, always repping.
But, did a lot of training, a lot of traveling, a lot of time out at Fort Irwin, NTC, South Korea for 9 months. That was a good time.
Wow.
It was really nice to travel and just see like a different culture, a different piece of the world actually. And I actually enjoyed it. It was a lot cheaper and there's just a lot to do. It's just a healthy, super healthy environment actually. Got my sergeant while I was in. I got my associates while I was in. And, for me, it was just the end. The military for me was just not an end-all, be-all. I wanted to be and become something bigger. So that's when I came home. February of 2018. I didn't really know what I wanted to get into. My first job I went to actually went bankrupt, so I was laid off within a month of being home. Luckily over the years I kind of, had a decent savings. But that's when, I actually went to work for another company called Armored One out of Syracuse. They actually do bulletproof windows and doors. Basically, for me, once again, I felt like I wasn't in the right place. And when you know, you're
Oh,
just not
absolutely.
as motivated. You're just
Not
moving
right
a
now.
lot slower.
Yeah.
So I decided to start a company. I wanted to do A to Z at first. So it's called ENS Home Essentials. What it was just every service you could think of: power washing, landscaping, snow plowing, HVAC, roofing. And then, it was decent. I was working a lot of long hours at Armored One, like 80-hour weeks.
Mm.
And I was on the
Man,
road from Monday through,
80-hour weeks?
yeah, like Monday through Friday, I was on the road, and it paid really good, prevailing wage. So we go down to New York City, it'd be like 100 an hour, but
Yeah, let me get that contact information. Send that to me.
nah,
What?
you start to realize as you get older, it's not all about the bread.
100%.
It's gotta what makes you happy. And I'm a big family guy, and friends. So, and obviously, I've been with my, girlfriend now for almost 7 years. So,
Hey, let's go. Buffalo is committed and faithful. Out to the faithful
so,
out there, baby.
but so that's always tough. But I had 15 customers my first year part time. Um, 2019 was actually my first year out on my own. I decided no more working for anybody else. It doesn't make sense, even though you have bills, to technically go work 25 hours part-time for another company than just to go, do your part-time. It's what can you do with that 25 hours? Because you could definitely go make more. So I look at it as opportunity cost. The simple example is just, does Tom Brady spend time to mow his lawn? No, he does
No,
not. He
absolutely not.
makes a lot more money throwing the football. And if you could make a lot more money going to do your own job or company you started, why are you wasting time? You have to trust in yourself, and that's kind of the just for me. So then bringing into 2019, I had over 400 customers. So it was a big jump. But it was an overwhelming jump. Learned a lot, but I realized that I needed to focus on one service and one thing. The biggest thing for me was just honing in on that one service. Last year, I had a total of 9 roof calls, and I didn't really search for roofs last year, but we got them and we did them. This year, we're over 120. So it's a lot bigger. And this year, we grossed a little over 400K in my third year of business, technically.
What comparison to last year? What did you do last year? Do you remember?
What I grossed last year was like 70 or 80.
Bro, all right, you're gonna have to go deeper into it. What did it take to go from 70 or 80 to 400K?
Well, I mean, you hone in on one service. Yes, you're offering so many things, but you don't know what to focus on. And not every service has the best margins. So to explain, if you go from the average roof price of about 10 grand to gutter cleaning, which is $100, you know what I mean? So it just really depends. And personally, I love construction. I love taking the old to new.
I know you did.
The customer experience for me is huge. That's what we're big on, real big. I now have 25 guys working for me. And I mean,
What'd you start off with?
myself.
Boy.
I mean, and that was last year. I still only had like 2 or 3 guys working with me.
I mean, I came in when I could.
Yeah. But
So
you just learn a lot of things along the way, like, friends and family shouldn't be working for you. You got to hire out. You can't expect everybody to do the job you're going to do, but you have to put that, faith that, you could task things out and they're going to get it done. If they're not, then they're not the right fit. So a lot of it's a learning curve. I mean, I'm only 25 now. And we got big goals, aspirations, and next year we're trying to do $1 million. So
$1 million.
Yeah, we're trying to do $1 million next year, dude.
Bro, $1 million. Don't just say that like it's something slight.
I mean, it is slight. Like that's not to what we want to be doing. That's not anywhere near.
'Cause you're dreaming crazy,
Yeah, well, you have to. So basically, we have a Syracuse location now. We are actually promoting a free roof giveaway. We do have some local sponsors. So shout out to, if anybody's looking at this, submit somebody that's in need of a roof. It's not just anybody that's getting a roof. It's a family that's in need. That's one of my biggest things is I want to give back to the community because we all know, I agree, God is good and he's been good to me. And, if you take care of people, it actually goes a lot further than trying to scam people.
Absolutely.
So that's another reason we kind of jumped into the industry. But, we got some big things coming. And, Syracuse isn't the only stop.
Nice. Just a little bump in the road. You don't take care of it here and then always upgrading. Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that.
So we're probably planning on 4 locations in New York State and then 1 out-of-state location. Things could change down the road, but who knows? Maybe I get comfortable with 2 and then I just want to move. So who knows?
Be comfortable with 2, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it, but you never know. We'll see. It's tough. Workers are getting more and more scarce.
Oh, yeah. Hard workers are hard to come by.
Yeah,
in every industry.
They really are. I know a fence company that's been around for a long time in Baldwinsville. They used to have 80 applicants in the summer. Now they have maybe 15. It's a big difference.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, that's kind of the gist. I mean, I'm very huge on just overall, just thinking about numbers and thinking about ways we can improve for the customer and just being as transparent as possible because, everybody's scared today. It's a scary world. Everybody's got Ring doorbells. You can't really knock at somebody's door anymore.
How's COVID affected you? Crazy?
We started late. So we had a couple roofs done in March actually this year because we had a light winter last year. Mm-hmm. And then it turned into basically, I think we went from April. I think March 27th was our actual, so almost 2 months behind. So we're booked for the year now, and we're starting to book for next year. So,
man, bro, what? All right, so when you started off and you were super small, when it was just you, was it a ton of trial and error?
Yeah.
You just try something, it doesn't work, you try.
I mean, it's still going to be that way. It still should be that way through 15, 20 years of business. Yeah, you're getting your nitty and gritty down, but it's still trial and error. Obviously, we have different ways of marketing and as far as that sense goes, but I mean, you got to see what works and what doesn't. I learned that, I'm a better roofing owner, company owner, sales guy, or rep than a roofer, you know what I mean? I know there's roofers and then there's people that work in the organization. So that's huge for me. I enjoy going to meet different people, being on different job sites, because we get most projects done a day. So for me, hopping around to different roofs, meeting different people, it's just huge. I don't like being stagnant.
No.
So that's kind of the gist. But yeah, there's always trial and error, and that's how it's forever will be. You get stuck in your ways, an old coach we know. He might just want to run the ball all the time, and that's not the way the world works.
I know you're targeted on that one.
Yeah.
Don't run the ball. Upgrade.
Yeah.
Coaches, if you're listening, upgrade. Coaches,
upgrade.
Oh, we have. Look who's here. So you guys are on Passion Changes Everything, the podcast.
Hi, Eli.
So you guys can see.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are
and
you?
we're interviewing him for the podcast.
Okay.
And it's recording right now, so you guys are here.
Well, it was good to be a guest.
Would love to have you back.
All right.
All right, so back to when you first started. When you said you were working 80 hours for one job by yourself. How did you prevent yourself from getting super overwhelmed? Or I mean,
I don't know. Not to overhype myself or be humble, but I kind of chase chaos. If that makes sense.
No, I love that.
You have to push and push and push. Otherwise, you have to expect failure. Like, you have to see what works. If you're not pushing, you'll never know what your limits are.
100%.
Like, I got to be honest on a little secret. Last year was my first year snow plowing, right? I jumped into it with like a month to go before the season started. Okay? Jumped.
People don't know.
Yeah.
Syracuse, New York winters, yup. We're 2 hours from Canada. Like, there's no joke. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So I jumped into it, and with like a month to go, season went great. We had over 200 customers in our first year for snowplowing. So that was phenomenal. We took care of everybody. It's very straightforward. It's easy. You catch on to when to go out, when to not. But my family was concerned. Like, they were like, "What the hell are you getting into?" But for me, it was just like, I got this.
Yeah, that's how I am.
And I truly know my limits. If I don't feel comfortable, I will straight up tell somebody, hey, I don't think we should do this, give so-and-so a call. And that's how I am. But if I know, we can do it, then yeah, I still get it done. That's just huge for me. So.
All right. I love that. You got to know your limits, know your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like a good idea to, because I have to write out my goals, literally write them down on paper.
I have
I vary.
I have at least 15 whiteboards.
Oh yeah, 100%. I like that.
So, I mean, if you're just looking at right now, I got on the desk, I probably have like 15 note cards for customers, and then I categorize stuff. We're getting into the more technology as far as like the computer-based systems go to actually track and move all those different pieces now. But when you first start out, you have to keep your expenses low. I mean, could we afford it this year? Yeah, whatever. But I still like to, I prefer versus like overhead, getting the right people into the business and then worrying about all the equipment tangibles later, because we still get the job done. But of course, there's stuff I want to buy and equipment I want to buy, but I prefer to get the right people into play, because once you get the right people into play, you can go do so much more. So that's pretty big for me. But yeah, I always write stuff down, man. It's a lot easier.
Any tips for kind of going off of writing stuff down, or organization, especially when you're by yourself or starting super small? There's so many things that you have to focus on, like target. Any tips on organization?
Take it a week at a time. If you're trying to see what you have to get done for the next 5 months, it's a little rough. But if, you take it a week at a time, so obviously you have your customers during that week, you take care of them, and then you got the new ones coming in for the next week. Just take it a week at a time. It could be real overwhelming, obviously, if, you just jump right into, oh man, I got to get an office, I got to buy a piece of land, I got to do this, I got to buy 10 more trucks, 5 more trailers. That's overwhelming. But yeah, just take it a week at a time and you'll be all right. But you have to know what's going to level up next for you. Like, hey, not a lot of people want to spend money. That's the thing. So you got to know when, hey, we need an office, or hey, we need a location, or hey, we need to hire this guy. So like next for me next year, I already know I got to get an office assistant, somebody that's going to be doing all the paperwork for me, organizing files, sending estimates out after I email them to her. Just in general, just a lot, just taking a plate load off my stuff, because once my plate load, unloads, I get to go do so much more. I can go get more jobs, it's simple as that. So paying somebody, $45,000, to deal with all the paperwork aspect for the most part. Yeah. So you can go sell another 100 roofs, which, and let's say $1 million is just way worth it.
Absolutely. So what do you look for when you're searching for that type of employee?
Well, I really haven't searched for an office assistant yet, but we are doing, obviously I've hired guys all year, and then, we've done sales team putting together.
Gotcha.
So that was pretty big.
Like what characteristics, I know, because roofing,
I mean, you need to have a drive.
Got it. Yeah, you have not.
It's not really. I'm not really huge on the resume.
Gotcha.
Resume doesn't really like catch my eye. Anybody can write something down on a resume.
100%.
Anybody can forge a document saying I graduated from Yale. You know what I mean? Like,
very true.
It's it's as simple as that. But it's how are you in person? How are you to others? How you treat your family? How you're going to treat these customers? And how overall, you're just going to react to, the tasks I give you. Okay. If you're not performing and you're not meeting my standards that I give you, then you're not the right fit.
Absolutely.
And it's just, I got to find out what makes you tick.
So. For the women that want to get into roofing, and they don't, not even necessarily being the owner, but if they wanted to get up there, because everyone has this stigma, even I had this stigma, where I'm like, you got to be a big, strong guy to do roofing. I did roofing for the summer, and it's no joke. So for the women, what advice would you give that were interested in doing it?
I don't think there's already companies and women roofers out there. It's more down south predominantly. It's a little different market. We're considered a retail market, where other markets are heavy, like insurance markets from like hail, windstorms, tornadoes, that kind of thing. But I don't really have any advice other than go for it. I mean, I know we got a couple people that applied that are women, for our sales positions, and they're hungry. They're like real hungry, like constantly messaging, emailing us back, trying to, hey, let's get this rolling. Let's get this rolling. Yeah. I'm sending them training, and we're just talking back and forth, and they're just ready to get after it, and that's kind of what you want.
100%. Is there a limit to that? As since you are like an owner, you kind of run everything. Is there a limit to coming off as annoying if I wanted to work for you? If I did you check my resume yet? Did you check my resume yet? Or is it like you think of it like, this man, he has a drive. You have to give me an answer,
I mean, it just depends, Are you like at that point where you're messaging me super late at night? Like I say super late at night, like past 11. Okay. Past 11 is like, okay, unless you got an emergency, why are you calling?
Yeah.
But other than that, not really. I mean, you're taking an initiative to learn.
Absolutely.
What's annoying about that? Like,
I would do.
I don't see a problem with it. People are just hungry. They want to learn, because in roofing, it's limitless to what you can do and what you can make. I mean, yeah, it's a hard service. It's a hard labor. It's very labor intensive, as you know.
No joke. My back was hurting. I'm in good shape.
But I mean, it's very rewarding. You can, I don't know. I just can't work for anybody else. I know that.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain people like that. There's certain people like that have that.
Ain't no turning back.
Now there ain't no turning back. 100%. Have you ever turned down a client?
Yes.
Like, is it like more based on like, I don't even want to guess. I don't want to be like their roof was awful, or they were just nasty to you. They were rude, and
so here's the thing about customers and contractors. It's a full circle. It goes both ways. There's contractors that take advantage of homeowners, and then there's homeowners that take advantage of contractors. Basically, I mean, let's see, who did I turn down this year? So sometimes there's just jobs that, because of how things were built, it could potentially be a problem with the roof. It doesn't matter how well you put the roof on. It sometimes matters how the house was built. Whether the valley or addition was created properly. You run into a lot of additions not being put on properly, and that leads to a lot of black mold, a lot of leaks. And I've been in some nasty houses this year, and not to their fault, but water damage gets real nasty.
Yeah.
So I've had to walk away from some of those because it's just too much liability on our ends. I'm not the builder, I'm the roofer.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
So, but what you see commonly you know, I'm up front and I don't mind telling people why, and I explain it why, and I'll go into depth. And, you know, we're very transparent. We show our photos, we do drone photos, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we get real into depth. And, you know, you can talk to my old customers, go to my customers' houses. I really don't mind. Like I said, transparency is the best, I think, key in today's world. But, you know, you'll see companies that mark up the price so high so you don't choose them. That's just, they don't want to do it. Well, I mean, some people, you know, it might just be a high price, but I know, for instance, sometimes it's common for it to be just so high because they don't want to do the product. But I'm not afraid to tell anybody why, and, you know, I'd just rather not. You know, and it sucks, but there's somebody out there that will do it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So there's always options.
100%. I have a deep question for you.
All right.
A fun one. If you could ask the most successful person in your industry, like the most successful roofer to ever live, one question, what would it be? Take your time too. That's kind of a deep one.
I don't even know who the most successful roofer is. That's the thing. There's a lot of successful companies. I know one company out in Nebraska that does I think it's like $30 million a year or something. Mm-hmm. But there's Fortune 500 roofing companies.
What?
Yeah, look it up. There's a list, and there's companies that do like $500 million a year in roofing.
Are they like huge companies, like a huge company that owns a million other companies? Like how? That's
yeah, I think so. I think they're just companies that might have a franchise location in every state.
Would that ever be a goal for you?
No, it's too big.
Yeah,
I don't want any of that. I'm okay. I'm okay with a couple locations and, you know, another location just so I can go there and get out of here.
With nothing wrong with here. Just get out of here for the winters. Come back in the summer.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not really. I don't know. I'm not looking nothing crazy like that. It's too much.
Yeah, that is huge. If you could give yourself advice now, if the current you could give yourself advice 15 years ago, what would you give yourself? What would you tell yourself, knowing the information that you know now?
Start sooner.
Yeah. I would tell myself, don't go to college.
Yeah, I mean, I went back, and my bachelor's like incomplete, but I was doing it while I started the company. So for me, it was just, you know, I don't know. I don't get enjoyment out of it. I really don't. And like, yeah, whatever, it'd be nice for a backfall. And technically it's free for me, but it's not really free. I serve for it. You know, they got my worth out of me too.
Yeah, I bet they did. No joke.
So it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't, you know, I'll sit in class and I'll be like, man, I could be making money right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's just straight up how I think. Yeah, and I don't know, like, when you really got to go get it, you will do anything to go get it. And I don't know, it's just one of those things that it's, you know, it's easier said than done, but get after it. You know, I wish I didn't go into the service, kind of, to be honest. I wish I started the company in high school.
Gotcha. I mean, you can never know what you know now, but that makes sense. Talking about the service, because I've always been super intrigued. Don't get nervous. Don't start wiping the sweat off, boy. Stretch it out.
Good times.
What was the best time that you can share that you had in the service that you can share?
Yeah, that I could share.
It could be something stupid. It could be something crazy. Just the best experience where you're just like, man, this one time where you gotta do the little sit up and stretch out before you tell a story.
I don't know if I could tell the best time.
You don't have to use names. You can just paint that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
give me a good time.
Austin, 6th Street, if you ever heard of that, look that up, is just a street full of bars. It's very common for the guys and the boys to go out. Those were probably some of the best memories because you got what is it, Texas College right there, the University of Texas.
Yeah.
Just so it's packed.
Absolutely.
City of Austin is amazing. So overall, it's a really good time. I mean, Halloween, you name it. I mean, just you and your like whole company going out. It's a good time. Yeah.
What's the worst?
But I really liked Korea, man.
Oh,
I
you
really
got
liked.
more good stories? I thought this was gonna be the struggle. I thought this was gonna be hard.
No, because I can't tell everything.
No, I know you can't. I tried to get you to, but
Korea was big for me. It was just like I truly think over there the food is healthier, it's fresher. It's just there's a lot to do. And their second native language is actually English, so it's very easy to get around. It's really cheap. Like I could take an hour and a half train ride round trip, $5.
What?
Yeah, I could probably go almost 10 miles in a taxi for $3. Yeah, so and my phone bill here, what it is there now, it's like $38 there unlimited with my iPhone. So
why aren't we all living in Korea? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, right. But I loved climbing the mountains there. That was pretty awesome. The zoo there was pretty cool too. They're like I think they're gorilla and they're lions. Oh my goodness, it was wild. They're gorilla like I don't even know what you want to call it, but they had like I want to say it was like just a giant like pole or like I don't know jungle gym. It went up like 100 feet in the air, and it like overlooks the whole zoo. And the wall to the pole was only like maybe 10 feet. And I was like, hey, even if they just climb from like 20 feet up, they can make that probably 15 feet jump. I kid you not. It was not that far. I was like, wow, they could really get out. And then the Lions was just phenomenal. They were throwing like full chickens and like dangling it off. Imagine like a diving pool. Well, the diving pool was like 15 feet in the air and the person was just like this.
Yeah.
So that was pretty wild. It was just like free there. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, it was just like a very like free environment of.
That's not what I think of when I think of Korea at all.
Yeah,
that's
what I thought about. Maybe because we got wild, but.
I mean, yeah, and you went there like.
Yeah, I mean, we had rules and stuff, and we had curfews and stuff like that. Like you had to be back on like I think on base or post by like 1 a.m. I think. And then I think like midnight on weekdays. But it was just overall a good time. Like it really was just healthier. Like you could tell. I mean, they had everything too that we have. They got McDonald's, Taco Bell, Subway. But it was just healthier. It's crazy to think about.
No, 100%. What branch were you in?
Army.
You were in the Army? All right. I don't know if I already went over and I forgot. I got
early
onset CPE, All right.
Yeah.
You could take the cheap way out of this, the worst part of the military experience, and say basic. If that's your honest answer, the worst situation that you were in, and then the worst or the negative side, I should say, not the worst. So you get the worst situation, and then
the negative side of the military.
Yeah. You can give.
Negative side of the military, not basic training. I didn't. Well, basic training is what it is, but
yeah.
I'd say the waiting around. Okay. It's very unorganized.
Which is surprising. I would never think that.
Yeah. Not a lot of people think that, but it's very unorganized. There's a lot of waiting around. For me, it was just once again thinking, what could I be doing? Mm-hmm. You're always on duty, technically, 24/7. Somebody called you and say, hey, you got to come back, and you were like in San Antonio or something, like you got to come back. That is what it is, but just very unorganized. I think what it came down to is like leadership gave timelines, and then the rank below would set it sooner so that you wouldn't, piss off the guy ahead of you, So let's say rank, let's say captain. So we got captain, your CO, and then we got like first sergeant, then you got like your platoon sergeants. So I think what it came down to is just your timelines. And that's maybe just my thoughts, but so we would have 0, I don't know, let's say one day we had to meet at like, 6 a.m., 06, and then, but we wouldn't be doing anything till 10 a.m.
So you're just
So
sitting.
it's 4 hours of waiting. Like, why was I up at 5? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So there's a lot of those cases and scenarios, and maybe it has to do with accountability, but it doesn't take 4 hours to get everybody ready.
No, absolutely not.
So yeah, I just think it's pretty unorganized. It's just, I don't know.
No, I like that answer.
Some of their ways, once again, it comes down to are very old school, and you gotta adapt with times, and that just wasn't the case.
No, 100%. All right, 2 of your biggest influences, and I want a personal, and then you can go celebrities or whatever else.
I don't even have a celebrity.
Nah, mine would be Odell Beckham, obviously, but personal.
I hope that's a lie.
You're bugging. Everyone knows I love Odell.
Yeah, Odell trash.
Don't make me wrong. Trash. Trash.
It's trash.
You're Kurt. All right.
Come on. He's like the next. He's like the next Antonio Brown. Come on, man.
No, he had a quiet over 1,000 yards last year.
Doesn't matter. It's the attitude.
He was fine last year. He has to show emotion, bro.
Barely. Look, look. You should be idolizing Julio. That's it.
I mean, he's good for sure.
He's the GOAT.
I shouldn't even say I idolize Odell. I respect Odell.
Okay, that's better.
But I do kind of. I'll be watching every Instagram post he has, and I'm like, just imagine
too much.
Tattoos and
too much.
All right, don't turn this around on me.
All right, I did switch it.
I just turned up on Odell. My man had 1,000 yards, over 1,000 yards quietly, bro. All right, go ahead.
I don't even remember where we're at, to be honest.
Right, so
idolizing.
Yeah.
I don't really have any celebrities. People I look up to. It's weird to say this, but I got a couple mentors. I actually started out with a mentor name of Swim Landscape, Paul Swim, and he wasn't like, he does hardscapes, so like walkways, patios, all that brickwork. And he actually was one of my first mentors. I seeked him out. And he's just so busy. It's hard to keep up with him too. But I'd say he's a pretty good mentor, just business-wise. He's got the same energy. Keep your head up, keep going, don't stop, and just drive.
Anyone that you'd want to give a shout out to, like, thank you for introducing me to the grind, introducing me to roofing, or people that you I don't want to use the word idolize, because that's a heavy word. Like, can't honestly say that idolize, but just influences. Like, thanks for.
It's weird to say, but I don't really have any.
like for example, thanks for allowing me on your first podcast. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
That's at the end. We're not there.
I get my free plug,
My man trying to jump the gun.
Yeah, I was like, just a little hint.
You thought this was a track meet?
No.
No, my Uncle Chris is a pretty good businessman. He owns 4 or 5 physical therapy businesses, so I get to chat with him here and there. Man,
it's fine.
I really kind of, like, I have a couple people here and there I ask questions with, and, because now I have a couple, like, roofing mentors, but not really, because they're doing their own thing. So I get a couple questions and here and there, but it's nothing that I'm like, thank you so much for.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. That's an honest answer. I love that.
I'm kind of just learning on my own, to be honest.
Gotcha.
Humbly, like, it's just how it is. Learned on my own, and people teach me things here and there on the way, but it's nothing crazy that's like, oh my God, I'm bowing down.
Thank you so much for teaching me.
Yeah. It's just like I had 2 ways of which way to go about it, and they put their 2 cents in about it, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, I guess we'll do this.
No. I love it.
So that's kind of it, really, to be honest.
Thank you. I really appreciate that answer, because that answer is, I would force myself to think of something and then I'd regret it later. Like, nah, I don't really. So no, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't really got people like that. Just don't.
All right. Side question is, I don't want to, it's E&S Home Essentials. Is that still a thing?
No, not really.
Not really.
So I totally diminished it for Mellow Roofing late last year. Reason I thought of Mellow is obviously people think of Carmelo Anthony and where we're from,
Absolutely.
but what it stands for is mighty efficient, low cost, on time roofing. So yeah, I thought of that like one night, super late. It was like 3 a.m. and I was like, came out, and my roommate was like, "What the hell are you doing now?" And I was like, "Yo, hear this out." He was like, "You're crazy." Next thing you know, it's like we started it. Like,
on with it, baby. I love it.
So
it's not really a thing?
No, I mean, it's there. It could be used, the entity itself, but like I'll probably use it for snow plowing, so that way it doesn't affect Mellow.
Especially here. No, 1,000%. Where can people find you? Like Facebook pages, Instagram pages? Where are you at?
Facebook, Google, Twitter, YouTube.
What do they search to find you?
Instagram. You can just search Mellow Roofing Inc. Type in, Mellow Roofing out of Baldwinsville or whatever you want. I mean, even if you type in E&S Home Essentials, we'll probably still pop up.
Yeah.
So we pop up. Yeah.
I like it. What about you? Do you want to share your personal? If anyone wants to follow your story aside from the business, Instagram or anything like that?
Yeah, sure, I guess.
It hurt,
I mean, I don't really post much, to be honest. I kind of, I got away from that. You start to grow, and you realize, what are people posting?
You are your business now. You're that where.
Well, you need to present it professionally, exactly what it comes down to. So many people are on there about COVID, about politics, and so much more that's gone on this year. And if as a business owner, you shouldn't be getting involved in any of that, to be honest. I think you kind of lose a little bit of respect, and obviously just overall like business.
Yeah, politics. Scary.
By getting into all that, my views don't matter. It's business. That's what matters.
Yeah,
you want to work with the best company, in New York State. Okay, then we're the fit. But, I won't ever myself get into politics on a job or an estimate, and I won't allow anybody else to either. It's not okay. So.
I got you. Can you tell me a little bit about starting your own business? Like, what are some of the steps that you have to take?
At first, we started out as a DBA, and then I created an LLC. I'd probably, if you're doing anything, I'd probably just jump right into an LLC. LLC takes a little limited liability company. It takes a little longer because it's with the state. If you do DBA, it's with the county. So you can have the business within a day. If you go down to the county, I think it's like $35. And then as far as the LLC goes, it'll take a while. You got to get stuff back from the state, like the affidavits, and then you got to publish it with local newspaper articles. So, it ends up being probably $400 or $500. But that's without attorneys. You don't need attorneys to do it. Just, as long as you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fairly simple, and I mean, then it's just where you want to go with it.
So before even you get the LLC, right when you start getting the idea, did you kind of write down like maybe goals, maybe target audience or stuff like that? Because I know you're similar to me, where you're like, this is the idea, I find out what makes it happen, and we're gonna go get it at 100 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean.
Did you run any like type of numbers? Like, this is what that's what everyone around me is making. You know what I mean? So if we can get to there, we're all right, and then grow from there. Or was it kind of just, let's go?
Kind of shoot from the hip.
Yeah, 100% just bam.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
I mean,
negatives of being like that though, because I know for me, I jump into something and I go so much, and then I'm like, was there really that much potential? You know what I mean? with the same mindset that passion changes everything. Where if I push it hard enough, there's nothing I'm gonna fail at.
I don't think there's really a downside to go other than you have to have. I mean, you have to have the mindset to slow down at a certain point because you need to check on things. You need to check on, am I getting back to every customer? Am I making sure we're organized as far as paperwork, materials, what you're spending? So, because we have accountants and all that stuff, and that handles everything for us, and a bookkeeper. You don't want to be going over budget on each project either. So you got to check all that stuff. So there is a slow down button for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, meetings are essential, I would say, especially as your team grows. You got to check in on everybody. Not so much as like, event session, but just what went well, and then just what can we do better.
Let's go.
Turn up.
Let's go. All right, so I like this idea of like before you got to where you're at now. So a question that I would personally have, I got to make it a good one for you. So you have this idea of starting your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the thing that you pushed the absolute most when you first started? Like, did you go 100 miles per hour into
getting the work?
What'd you say?
Getting the work.
Absolutely.
Because without the work, what do you have?
Yeah, everything else fails around.
Everything else fails. So you can work on the systems and the paperwork and the processes along the way, but ultimately to make all the engines turn is the green. So getting the work is huge. But once you fill that pipeline and you're starting to build, we're starting to build in the presence. It's just constant coming. For instance, I went on a roof call the other day. A company that's been around for the longest in our area. Not going to mention names, but they told a lady she needs a roof. I went, I inspected the roof, took pictures for her, explained stuff. She doesn't need a roof for a couple years. So building that kind of trust is huge because now what she's going to do is now trusting us and, that she doesn't have problems. She could have problems sooner, but we inspected it. We know what we're doing, and it's looking like she's pretty solid up there. She already, she's going to choose us when it's that time to come. So I'd rather do that all day than just tell somebody they need a new roof because, like I said, what goes around comes around.
Absolutely. You're living proof of it. You're living proof.
I mean, it's just, you got to put in the work, but you take care of people. That's what's going to keep your business longevity-wise versus, oh, man, I got to do what I got to do to reach $1 million this year. No, focus on the customers and it will come. But yeah, it will be all right.
I know you will be. What about startup costs? Is there like a certain, you don't have to say what you did, but your recommendation for a certain amount in your bank account before, or in your savings or whatever you can play with before starting, or can you do?
It just depends.
Depends on the business.
Yeah, because in roofing, there's subcontractors, there's in-house employees. It just depends. So you obviously, for the most part, I still, right now, I still go sell the work, talk to the customers. I got a couple people that help out, and we're getting more of a team together, so I could be doing less. But, for the most part, I'm not really doing hard labor anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the whole goal, is to build the business. You're either building it to sell it or you're building it to give it to your kids.
Yeah, 100%. What's your goal? Do you know?
Probably hand it down to my kids.
The perfect life goal. The perfect life.
Probably hand it down to my kids, to be honest.
I love that. No, I love that. I just wanted you to know. I just wanted you to.
Garbage.
Games. I'm gonna leave that right behind me. That might be my new thing for the podcast.
Why don't you hit his ass up so he can get you on Cleveland?
Man, don't threaten me with a good time.
I'm about to message him for you, man. I'm about to start messaging all these athletes. Man, yo, check out this tape.
No, I love it. All right, so to kind of wrap it up, I guess, even though we could sit here and talk all day.
Probably.
100%. To kind of wrap it up, why did you want to, or no, why did you accept my invitation to do the podcast? Because you love me and I'm so awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
boost me up.
I mean, you're my boy. You know, that's plain and simple. You're my boy, Blue.
No.
Other than that, I mean, I don't really care for spotlight or media attention or any of that stuff. But I don't know, whatever people are helping out, you know, getting knowledge out there. There's enough to go around, so everybody needs to eat. You know what I mean? Like,
now boost me up. Tell me I'm beautiful. Tell me because I am super motivated and passion changes everything is the reason, and I inspire you to be. Come on, boost me up. I'm not joking.
Boost you up how?
Just
you already boosted.
You wanted to talk with me because I'm awesome. Boost me up.
Oh my God, this man's wild.
No, that's fine.
I appreciate my man Corey having me come on.
Don't do it. No, but all right, one more time. Name, business, where everyone can find you.
All right, so hop on Google, Mellow Roofing from Baldwinsville, New York. Let's go ahead and get those submissions in. We're giving away to a family in need. So everybody, you know, go like, subscribe, whatever. You know, we take care of people one way or another. You're going to need a roof. And if you look us up, we're the ones that take care of people. Appreciate it. Thank you, Corey.
My boy. I love it. All right, guys. So if you're interested in this free roof giveaway, feel free to follow me on any of my social media platforms at Corey Reed. On Instagram, it's Corey_Reed. That's KOREEREED. I'll also post a link in the description on my YouTube channel. But it's for a great cause. It's for the community. It's to help someone in need. So please, please, please support. Thank you so much.